Do you think you would ever hand over important personal information to a criminal on purpose? No one does until they fall prey to the sophisticated tricks of a social engineering attack. Social engineering is the art of human manipulation. These attacks begin with an attacker setting a condition where you believe the information coming into you is real, or that the attacker is someone or something you know or trust, such as your credit card company, a government organization, or even a coworker or close friend. And some attacks take advantage of the trusting relationships that often exist in social networking sites. An attacker pretends to be an old friend of high school and maybe convinces the victim to open a file that secretly installs malicious software that monitors keystrokes in order to steal passwords or bank card numbers. An attacker may also develop a relationship with someone you know.
Mom, what's your password?
Maybe your young child even, and convince the child to enter your personal information. According to Robert Cialdini in his book Influence, there are 6 basic principles to the psychology of influence. The 6 principles can be explained as follows.
Researchers have been studying the factors that influence us to say yes to the requests of others for over 60 years, and there can be no doubt that there's a science to how we are persuaded, and a lot of this science is surprising. When making a decision, it would be nice to think that people consider all the available information in order to guide their thinking, but the reality is very often different. In the increasingly overloaded lives we lead, more than ever, we need shortcuts or rules of thumb to guide our decision making. My own research has identified just 6 of these shortcuts as universals that guide human behavior. They are reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consistency, liking, and consensus. Understanding these shortcuts and employing them in an ethical manner can significantly increase the chances that someone will be persuaded by your request.
1. The principle of liking. This is a simple principle with complex implications. People tend to form trust with those that they're attracted to, platonic or otherwise, both physically and emotionally. 2. Social proof. People are motivated more by what others do than a perceived or even quantifiable benefit. For example, hotel guests are 26% more likely to reuse towels when told that the majority of guests comply with that request than if simply told that reusing towels protects the environment. 3. Rule of reciprocation. Humans feel a sense of obligatory quid pro quo. When one person provides something to another, a gift or a favor, usually the recipient feels indebted to return the act in kind. 4. Commitment and consistency. Most people stick with their original decisions despite information that supports changing their course. This is embodied in the Monty Hall problem, which demonstrates that subjects who choose one door would not switch when given a chance, even when they were informed that the odds were in their favor to make a different choice. In social marketing, in social networking, once a contact is committed to a connection, they are hard-pressed to unfriend or otherwise break that link, and will continue to interact and assist that person. 5. The principle of authority. Authority, whether real or perceived, elicits obedience in many people. The principle of authority is widely used in social engineering, and movies take this to an extreme when an undercover cop, for example, intimidates her way into a high security area. This can be used in social networking, directly or indirectly, by invoking the name of someone important. For example, I was speaking with General Dempsey last week, and he asked me to, for example, or by fabricating personal credentials designed to impress the target. When invoking someone else's authority, it's important to make sure that the person is difficult to contact, usually because they're so high-ranking that average workers don't have access to them. Make sure they don't have a social networking account either that can be used to verify their whereabouts or what they're doing. Number 6, principle of scarcity. The last principle. Rarity increases value. People want to be included in exclusive offers and even make poor choices under pressure. Think of all the commercials on TV with the call to action. Limited quantities, act now, or speaking to your sense of urgency, your online banking has been blocked. Dr. Cialdini explains his work.
My interest has always been in the influence process, how it is that people can be spurred to say yes to a request, even one that they might not be interested in its merits. The way I got into it is actually something more personal. I've always been a sucker, always been a patsy for the pitches of salespeople or fundraisers who've come to my door. So I've wound up in unwanted possession of tickets to the sanitation workers' ball and magazine subscriptions that I didn't really want. And I always wondered, how could that be? I didn't want these things, yet I wound up purchasing them. There must be a psychology to the presentation that's separate from the merits of the thing. So I began to study the influence process systematically.
Social engineering attacks involve techniques such as phishing, typo squatting, pretexting, hoaxes, dumpster diving, and shoulder surfing. Attackers can use hoaxes as a first step in an attack, and it is usually the first step in a technique known as pretexting. A hoax is a false warning, often contained in an email message, claiming to come from a legitimate authority, say at your workplace, such as the IT department. The hoax purports that there is a deadly virus circulating through the internet and that the recipient should erase specific files or change security configurations, and then forward the message to others. However, changing configurations allows an attacker to compromise the system, or erasing files may make the computer unstable, prompting the victim to call the telephone number in the hoax email message for help, which is actually the phone number of the attacker.
Mom, something's wrong with the iPad.
Pretexting. Social engineering pretexting is creating an invented scenario, the pretext, to persuade the victim to perform an action or provide confidential information.
What do you think of when I say the word hacker? Some creepy dude in a basement? Well, that's a misconception. What if I told you there's a class of hackers who don't just have social skills, they have more social intelligence than anyone you'll ever meet? David Kennedy is one of them. He's what's known as a social engineer, or a people hacker. His craft is to dupe you into doing things and sharing information you probably shouldn't.
Can I just get your credit card number?
Some use it for illegal activity. In David's case, companies pay him to find out if employees are leaving the company vulnerable. He and his team show us how it's done. Step 1, spoof his number so it looks like he's calling from inside the company, and then call tech support.
Hello, you there? Hello?
Hi, this is Ken. How may I help you?
I was wondering if you can take a look at a website I'm trying to get to. It's for a big customer thing I'm working on for Monday, and I can't seem to get to the website from my computer.
Sure. What's the website? I'll see if I can get to it.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate the help. I mean, it could be a stupid thing. I'm really stuck with computers, but so it's www.survey. That's SURVEY -pro.com.
Yeah, I got a prompt to open. I just clicked open, and I'm at the site now.
Here's what the IT guy doesn't realize. By clicking that link, he's just given David full access to his computer.
Whoa, okay, that's weird. I just hit it and it works. It seems like it's working fine now. Awesome. I don't know what you did, man, but I really appreciate the help.
Hey, no problem. That was easy.
That was it?
We're on this computer right now.
You were able to take over this guy's computer within, I would say, like under 2 minutes.
Under 2 minutes, yeah. Under 2 minutes, took over his entire computer, and think of it as not just his computer, but it's pretty much a downfall of the entire company.
While it involves lying, pretexting is considered to be much more than just creating a lie. It can fabricate an entirely new identity to use in an attack. Despite the growing number of attacks on users' personal security, there are defenses that can be used to ward off these attacks. These defenses include using strong passwords, recognizing phishing attacks, taking steps to avoid identity theft, and securing social networking sites.